Hello everyone, I'm Daniela Titan and today we will talk about cryonics with my special guest Chris. And we're not experts or anything. We don't know pretty much anything about it. We just researched. And we are really into the topic though. We really think it's interesting and fun. So today we will discuss about it and we will give our opinions about it. And yeah, so Chris,
All
what do
right.
you think?
Well, I'm actually really excited to be here. First of all, we've already made a video together, so if you guys want to check it out, you can come to my channel. If not, make sure you subscribe to both of our channels for more future content. Like you said, we're going to talk about cryonics today, which is freezing people. It's kind of a scary topic. So again, we're not experts or anything like that. We're just going to sort of have a discussion back and forth, and hopefully at the end of it, just become more knowledgeable as a whole, and just hopefully have everybody be happy at the end. Do you want to try and introduce what cryonics is and how it's done?
Mhm. I will try my best to explain it. So basically, people today they want to freeze themselves. They either freeze the whole body or they can freeze just their head, which is weird, I know, but some people do it. Okay, so they freeze it with the hope that in the future they can unfreeze it and they can keep on living. So it's basically like pausing your life and fast forwarding into the future. So now, why would someone do it? Someone would want to see what future looks like. Someone would be like, I have a disease today that is not curable, and I want maybe to try see if in the future they can cure this disease. So there are many reasons why someone would do it. Mm, and maybe with this way you can live forever. We don't know. Maybe.
So you're 100% right about all of that stuff. The only thing that I wanted to add to that is also I think is really interesting is space travel. So obviously we think about things in terms of Earth right now, and we're not even close to going to Mars or any other planets or even other solar systems, you know. But space travel in the future, there's no way. I don't think there's a way that you could have humans alive for hundreds or thousands of years on a starship without just freezing people. So I know it seems very futuresque that something like that could happen, but I really do think that it's possible that you could like just cryo sleep for decades or hundreds of years and just wake up, in the future at that star system at that new planet or whatever. Which I think is really freaking cool.
Okay, how the procedure goes. First things first, you cannot freeze an alive human being. You're not allowed. It's legally not. You can't, basically. And but they say when your heart stops beating, your brain still functions. So they try to save that brain function and use it in the future when they unfreeze people. First things first, what would happen is you die. Okay, you die. First, you have to die.
Scary.
Okay, and then they transfer you as soon as possible into a clinic. And into that clinic, they have to pump up out all your liquid, and they are gonna use an antifreezer. And this antifreeze actually helps your body to keep its keep it sustainable. And basically, if you do not use the antifreezer, you are gonna pop up like the beer. If you leave it in the freezer, it's gonna pop. Okay, and the ice in your cells is gonna destroy them. It's gonna create crystals. So you don't want that. You want to remove as much liquid as possible from your body, as much as water basically. And then what they're gonna do, they can't freeze you in water. You have to use liquid nitrogen. So they are gonna do something really fun. They're gonna put you upside down in liquid nitrogen. Now, why upside down? Because in case there is a leak um, where you're stored, your brain will still be intact in the bottom. So the leak hopefully won't reach to the bottom of the barrel or wherever you are. So yeah, and hopefully one day they're gonna freeze you. They're gonna bring you back to life.
So when you're talking about all of this, is this science fiction or is this happening right now?
They're doing it today. You can actually pay to have your body freezed, put in liquid nitrogen, or just your head. You can pick.
But nobody's ever been revived before, so it's really not happening yet.
No, you can't revive people yet.
So do you think though, while we're here, do you think that the people that are being cryo sleeped or cryogenically frozen now are going to be able to come back to life in the future, or do you think that we don't have the system correct yet, and that no matter what, those people are already dead and they'll never be revived?
I think it's going to be extremely complicated. We will need really sophisticated nanotechnology to reassemble all the nerves, all the destroyed cells. So today and in the near future, we can't do that. We can't do it. But there's always hope that maybe in thousands of years ahead, some people will be able to have these nano machines to work on that. We can't do that yet, not in the near future.
So, okay, so another thing that you're saying is people sometimes only freeze their head. So,
Mhm.
see, I think that's pretty cool because I think your entire body is irrelevant to who you are, to your consciousness. So, by freezing your head, your consciousness is still there. When, this is just kind of a random question here, I'm not going to get too philosophical on it, but do you think that when people wake up, they'll still be themselves?
Mm, I have absolutely no idea.
No idea. And by themselves, I just mean, I feel like you could. It's kind of like the take one cell out and put another cell in another body idea. When are you actually, when are you a new person, or when are you this? Are you still the same person? If you eventually take every cell and put it into another body, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Even if you rearrange it in the exact same spot, would you be the same person or would you be different? I don't know.
I don't know either, which is really interesting, isn't it?
It is. So that's why this is such an interesting topic, and it's a futuristic topic because yes, people are being frozen today, but there's no way to actually revive people, and even if there is, some of the people that are being cryogenically frozen right now, I think, uh, probably will be dead forever, or that we haven't done it right. So we haven't perfected it enough where those people they will be frozen, but they'll never be revived. Um, and even like you said, maybe in the future there will be some like really advanced technology that can like fix those people or like make them come back. But I don't know. I find that hard to believe. I feel like if they degrade too much, their brain cells or whatever degrade too much, and the neurons aren't in the exact same places. Even if you come in with like nano things and like try and fix it, like they might fix it differently, and it won't be you anymore. It'll be another person, very similar to what you are. Like you won't be your entire consciousness, I guess, which is very goofy. So, I guess where we're at.
There's there are so many problems actually. If you want to freeze a human being, even if you try to do it perfectly, even today, you mentioned that we probably are not doing it the proper way, and I totally agree because once you are dead, you have to be transferred to the clinic, okay? And your body starts to decompose. Your brain actually dies in minutes, which means which means basically that we're not doing it properly. I don't think we're doing it properly today. It's not instant.
Yeah.
And there's so many things going wrong because the antifreezer you're actually using in your body, it is toxic. It is toxic for us for many years. And which means you can't actually freeze one person and wait for thousands of years so the technology will be advanced enough. Right now it is extremely toxic for our body,
So yeah,
so you can't probably store them for too long.
yeah. So that's I think that's a really important distinction. Is right now, yes, we are cryogenically freezing people, and we do it with antifreeze that won't break our cells open and everything. Hopefully, won't break our cells open and everything. But at the same time, it's not foolproof. No matter what, you're gonna get some cell death. You're gonna get some stuff happening. You're gonna get degradation of cells and everything. So it's gonna be sort of I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's gonna be sort of goofy to get it all right. Um, but I think what we need to talk about is the fact that Some cells can. Oh, and another thing is the fact that the timing of it. Like you said, you're going to be dead for a couple minutes or whatever, and like your brain's probably going to die. Like right now, I don't know how long it takes to make all of that stuff happen, but I can just about guarantee it's going to take like have at least hours to make all that stuff happen and actually freeze them. Even with liquid nitrogen, it doesn't instantaneously freeze anything. It takes time to make that happen.
You
Um,
have to pump out all the liquid in your body, which it takes like hours.
yeah, absolutely. And then refill it with the right stuff. Like your cells don't just like rapidly take stuff in that fast. It has to like be pumped in and like forced in. So I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be really difficult to get all that technology right in the first place, where people can even actually truly freeze themselves without having a bunch of damage happen to them. But one other thing that I wanted to point out is that we're talking about freezing people or freezing entire heads. That's really tough to do, but you can freeze cells. Uh, it's totally possible to freeze cells,
We're
especially
doing it even
we
today.
are doing it today, even with especially with sex cells. Um,
Mhm.
either eggs or sperm. You can literally it depends on the situation. Like sperm, I'm pretty sure that was one of the first cells to ever be frozen, and like reanimated. You literally just like toss it in a freezer and take it out. Like as long as you freeze it at a low enough temperature, um, you just freeze sperm and just take them out, and they're just there and they work. It's like what? How does that work, man? Isn't that goofy though?
What
Um,
happened? Okay,
but most other cells, like you were saying earlier, when water freezes, it creates little like shards. Um,
exactly.
and those shards just pop the cell. And then literally when a cell gets popped, it just bloop, it just kind of like disappears. It's kind of goofy. I've actually seen it happen with like living pond cells. This guy put some like lysing chemicals in it that literally just like split it open, and you just saw it like open up, and just like all the things just float away, and you're like, I just watched
Yeah.
that thing die. It was kind of sad, like you know. But right now, with human egg cells, we have the same issue where normally the ice would and it explode that thing, and as soon as we unfreeze it, it's just gonna like come apart. While it's frozen, it's good, but as soon as we unfreeze it, it's gonna like come apart and just be nothingness anymore. And at that point, it's not a cell. So what we do is exactly like you said. We put antifreeze in the cell. We take out as much water as we can, put as much antifreeze in there, and then those ice shards won't happen. I don't even know if it's necessarily antifreeze. Like we call it antifreeze, but like it's I'm sure it's some sort of conglomeration of chemicals that allow it to
Mm,
happen. I don't know. Do you know? Like it's not like antifreeze like that goes in
cryoprotectant.
cars.
Actually, it's cryoprotectant.
Mm-hmm.
That's the proper terminology.
Okay, cryoprotectant. Good.
So, but someone would say, since we can actually freeze and unfreeze human cells, why can we do it to every single cell in our body? Well, with small cells, there are a couple of things that happen that won't happen with a whole tissue or a whole organism. First things first, the membrane freezes at the same time from outside and the inside. So the membrane doesn't break, doesn't actually become frozen and fragile. And second, it can actually unfreeze in a way that at the same time the outside and the inside have the same temperature at the same time. With a whole organism, you can't do that because some cells are gonna get warmer, some cells are still gonna be cold. You can't do it. And there's another thing that the antifreezer actually when you have a whole organism, it doesn't get fully absorbed from the cells. It doesn't go everywhere in every single cell. And yeah, with small cells, you can do it instantly. And the fourth thing is that, what do I say? Give me a second. Yes, some cells have different how can I say it? Okay, some cells are more resistant to the toxicity of the antifreezer. So you can't freeze same cells for same duration. Some cells are going to die faster than others. And the same goes with organisms in the nature. Some cells can actually freeze themselves and preserve themselves in ice, but others cannot.
So can you give an example of an animal that can freeze themselves and then come back to life?
First, there are microbes that can do it pretty well, and another one is frogs. Frogs, what they can do? Oh my God, it's amazing. Okay, so basically, frogs they can freeze themselves in winter. Some of them, not all of them. Don't freeze your frogs. Uh, some of them can freeze themselves slowly in the winter. So what happens is they have a natural antifreezer in their body, a cryoprotectant in their body. So their body slows down the metabolism and doesn't allow the ice to become shards. So the cells don't pop. So an interesting idea would be what if we mutate, we genetically modify our future children to have this naturally in their bodies, to have this antifreezer in their bodies. Can you imagine that? These babies would freeze and unfreeze properly without the toxicity of the antifreezer. It would be in their body, it would be theirs. So it would be so cool. And this would be an amazing idea of engineering, bioengineering, that would help the space travel and everything. It would be so cool to do that.
So I wanted to point out that with that frog, though, I'm not sure if it translates directly to humans. It's like an interesting idea because the way I understand it is like when the frog freezes itself, it's like just
Mhm.
below freezing. It's not like, when they freeze sperm cells and egg cells, it's like negative 176 degrees Fahrenheit, or like it's like, close to absolute zero kind of thing. Um, but the frog, like, they're not doing that. I don't know if they've done any research. I'm ignorant about this. I don't know. But I don't know if they've ever tried to, like, freeze that frog into a very, very cold temperature. I think if they did that, there would still be enough ice crystals to form that it would end up dying. Um, because the frog doesn't just, take out all the water. It tries to get rid of as much water as it can and, put as much antifreeze in where it just makes it so it won't freeze up to a certain temperature. It won't form ice crystals up to a certain temperature. So I think that if you did end up just straight up giving that maybe a genetically modified human that freezing stuff, it wouldn't be exactly the same thing. You could probably freeze them for like a year or maybe a couple of years just at a regular freezing temperature, which is interesting in itself. But it wouldn't exactly be the 100-year, 1,000-year, million-year cryogenic freezing that some people look forward to. You know, it's just sort of an
It's a
interesting
step.
thought about it.
It's a step. It's
It
a
is a
step.
step. That
Okay.
is right. Absolutely. But like sometimes one step in the right direction doesn't necessarily mean that it's like there, Um like figuring that out might not necessarily mean they'll ever figure out how to cryogenically freeze somebody for forever, which is kind of sad. Because I look forward to cryogenic freezing, by the way. I would do it to myself. Um
Would you?
I would. I would it's kind of a goofy thing because right now I think that like the world's pretty awesome and like the amount of technology that we've seen happen in the past like 30, 40, 50 years has been absolutely insane. Like once the internet came out, like the amount of technology that just took off is crazy. So I honestly am kind of excited for the future, like 50 and 100 50 or 100 years. Like what is the technology going to look like? You can't even imagine the ridiculousness of the technology, and that's something that I would really like to see. And I'm a person that I think that if you die, like you're gone forever. Like you can't just look down upon the Earth in 50 or 100 years or something like that and just see it all. So I feel like I guess I'm FOMOing. You know what FOMO is?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Fear of missing out. So
Okay.
I'm fear of missing out on the future and all the cool things that I could possibly do there. And
Mhm.
would you freeze yourself?
No.
Not at
And
all.
the reason, no, I don't think
Like
I would.
0% chance. Even if today you found out that you had a disease that would kill you in a week. But maybe in 1,000 years it could be fixed.
You know, there is some there is some spiritual people that say there are actually some spiritual people who say that nature is like a cycle. for something to be born, something else has to die. So I believe, I'm not religious myself, but I believe that we have to die for new things to happen. And since we have the chance to live, it's okay, we can live our lives, but you can't be a vain old person like clinging on the idea of living forever. I hate those people because you don't you actually deprive other people from the opportunities that could have what.
You said I hate those people.
Yeah, I do.
Stabbed to the heart right there. Oh my gosh.
Not today, maybe tomorrow. So, okay, I don't like these people. Maybe the people who actually have diseases, I can somehow understand them, but that's okay. You can live through nature itself. You know what I mean? And in Buddhist philosophy, you can actually see that everything is one. So philosophically, I believe we are one with nature and it's okay to die. It's okay. We shouldn't be afraid of it. I know I really want to see the future. I would really love to see all the new things. I would love to see the past. I would love to see so many like traveling galaxies, maybe in a million years. I would love that. But on the other hand, you have to die when your time comes. You have to.
You have to. Okay.
You
All
have
right.
to.
Maybe that's where we disagree a bit. Now, the way I think about it is that, we're on Earth and there's obviously like, what, 7.5 billion people now? Like, there's a lot of
Mhm.
people out there. And there is not unlimited resources. So at some point, people will, if you want to have more resources, you're going to basically eventually have to take it away from somebody else at some point. Um, but the way I think about it is that I'm not just thinking in terms of Earth, and I'm not just thinking in terms of 100 or maybe even 1,000 years, but far into the future, hopefully. If they do invent space travel, especially, like, even if we just colonize Mars or Venus, like, that's one thing, where that just gives people more resources, or even Europa or other moons of Jupiter, and maybe even moons of Saturn or something like that. Like, those people could probably live there pretty happily. Um, but I even think even further, there's literally there's basically unlimited space in the universe. If you could travel to just different solar systems and stuff like that, and if we could terraform those planets into livable places, I really don't think humans would ever run out of resources that they could take over. And that's even including being an alien species and coming and just completely and not taking over planets that other life is on. You know, like just destroying it for their own good. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
It's not just about the resources. I understand that. I totally agree with you. But the point is, new people bring new ideas. Okay. New people have a different point of view. They grow up in a different environment than older people. So I believe new should be welcome. And we shouldn't focus on living forever. That's my idea. It would be cool. I can't deny it. I would like to live forever. But on the other hand, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just accept that it's okay to die. It's okay to have new people on Earth. What do you think
So,
about
so
that?
I don't think there's anything wrong. You could still have kids or have new people. That's where the unlimited resources comes in with the universe being gigantic. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As far as like people should die, that is what's natural. Um, I mean that's true. That is what's natural. The only thing that the only two things guaranteed in life are taxes and death. Um, so like yeah, you're supposed to die. Everybody's died. Everything for the past 4 billion years has lived and died, except for maybe the immortal jellyfish. But uh, I don't know. I feel like what's wrong with science beating that? What if we could beat death? In two ways. Obviously, cryogenically freezing somebody into the future, but maybe even getting to the point where, like, literally, you can have nanobots repair your DNA and repair your body just to keep you young forever. Like, it's a possibility in the future. Like, that's something we have to actually think about over here. And I think it would be really, really cool if you could live forever. I don't see what's wrong with it. You're beating nature. You beat what
I
was
know.
supposed to happen.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't know. I feel that ethically we should accept it, and we shouldn't be afraid of death. Death is okay because now we're so terrified of it. We don't like it. No one wants to die, obviously. And I think once we evolve ethically, we would understand that it's okay to have a limited lifetime, because that way you can actually appreciate your life even more. You know what I mean? If
I
you live
understand.
forever,
I understand what you're saying. Do I agree with it? I don't know. Maybe. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too selfish. Like, I am selfish. I'll 100% admit it. Like, I am very afraid of death. I know that I shouldn't be, because literally it's like, to me, it's like before you were born. Like, nothing happened for 13 billion years. Like, what's the difference? Um, but at the same time, like, feeling things is wonderful. Feeling the wind on you, feeling the sun on you, and once that's over, it's gone forever. So you'll never feel that again. You'll never feel anything really. So the
so
rest of the universe will.
appreciate it while you have it. Just appreciate it while you have it. Then give your life for something new.
It's Yeah, but I'd rather do it forever. I'd rather eat food forever and feel things forever, or maybe not even forever, but for a longer time than 80 years or something like that. Especially a longer time than if somebody gets cancer at 30. I think it's totally cool for them to freeze themselves, wait until the future, and hopefully beat that cancer and live happily. I realized that obviously, like I was saying earlier, that the finite resources of it, I'm thinking like way further in the future. Like that's
I
not
agree.
happening soon, like at all. That if people freeze themselves, even in 100 years, like we're probably not gonna, we'll probably be on Mars, but we probably won't terraform it or anything. So I don't know. It's kind of a scary mixed bag of philosophical emotions here, because I'm afraid. I don't want to die. Like you said, nobody wants to die, but maybe I feel it more than other people, that I have like this I would like to live forever thing. I don't know. Bad
I know.
emotions there.
But there's actually something really cool. One person said on the internet. I don't remember who. Okay, so how some people say today, oh, I once tried to learn Spanish 6 years ago, and just let it be. I just forgot about it. It's gonna be exactly the same thing, but you're gonna say, I started learning Spanish in the 15th century, and I just let it go. If you live forever, you're basically gonna keep on repeating yourself, but it's just gonna take longer cycles. Humans are still gonna be humans. They are not gonna appreciate what they have. They're always gonna think it's not enough.
So I don't know. I feel like if you could live, I don't know. We're turning this into cryogenic freezing into living forever talk, and I feel like even if you live, I don't know. Forever is a long time. Obviously, forever is forever. If you do get your head chopped off, I don't know if they can bring you back from that, or if you get crushed in a meat grinder. Like I don't think they can bring you back from that. So like maybe death will be the random accidents that happen, instead of you know I don't know, unless they like I was watching this show called The 100, and what they do in that show is they have this brain chip that like downloads your memories,
Mhm.
and then they install it in the next person, and then that hooks up to the next person, and then you have all of their memories from previous people and your own memories. Or they had this other one where they basically uploaded their memories to a computer, and then they were stealing people's bodies and putting that chip in somebody else's brain and then taking over their brain. Uh, I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I just think that like things like that are remotely possible. Um, I don't know where I was going with that, dude. Help me out here. Help me out.
I just think we should overcome our insecurities about death. We should overcome our insecurities about what we're missing out. And I think that's the next step, not actually trying to satisfy our insecurities, but instead overcoming them. It's hard. It's really hard. But I believe that would be the best for us. We would be free from our insecurities once we do that. It's all in your mind. Once you accept it, you are totally fine with it. That's what I say.
Maybe, maybe. All right, let's move on here.
Mhm.
I feel
We
like
should study the frogs. We should study the frogs.
we should
I
study the
believe.
frogs.
Yeah, definitely. They can do things.
So would you? What about this? Would you freeze yourself for like a couple years, like the frogs?
Like the frogs. Mm,
Like if you could CRISPR yourself into having that antifreeze gene, and you make it in your body already,
mm.
like as you are right now, just freeze yourself for a couple years, come back, maybe 5 years, something like that. Be the same age as you are now.
Yeah, but my close people would age faster than me then. That wouldn't be fun.
That would not be fun.
No. If maybe the person I love is gonna be with me, a partner or something, then probably I would be okay, a best friend or something. We would experience things together. But being alone, no, I don't think
You would
it
think
would.
though that if it's only 5 years, when you come back, your family would be like super excited to see you. Your friends would be excited to see you, and not. I don't know if you'd not miss a beat, but like I think they would still be your friends and everything, especially if they knew you were going to cryo sleep. You know, you
Why
don't
would
think
I do
so?
that for 5 years? Why? What's the point for 5 years? If you're gonna do it at least for 100 years. You know what I mean?
I can see the headlines now. Man cryo sleeps himself for 5 years because he wants to see what PlayStation 7 looks like. Like like weird things like that that you just don't know what the future is gonna hold. Um, Again, I just it goes back to random diseases where like, hey, if you really have to die now and you really want to wait and see the last Avengers movie, or you really want to wait till PlayStation 7 comes out or PlayStation 12, like if you really want to wait for those things, or Star Wars 13, um, I think they're pretty freaking close already, man. But if people don't want to miss out on those kind of things, like I said, if you're FOMOing, you don't want to miss out on certain things that you really enjoy, and it takes time to get to those things. Uh,
But would you get the same satisfaction as waiting for 5 years? Because if you really want to see a movie and you actually wait for it for 5 years, it builds up on you. It's more intense for you. But if you wait just like this flick of a second, then you wouldn't enjoy it that much.
Anticipation is a bit of a drug. Um, I don't know. I just like the for me, if I just froze myself for 5 years, like right now, if I had to decide, would I freeze myself for 5 years with a magic snap of the fingers? I don't know. I think I would do it. I think it'd be cool. Uh, it, it would suck. Like it would mess up a lot of the relationships that I have in real life.
Mm.
And I don't know, like my parents might not be alive when I come back or something like that. Um, I would miss a lot of things, and that's one thing that would make me possibly not do it. But at the same time, I'm really excited about the future. All right, mostly technology in the future. I think it's going to be freaking cool. All right, so I would rather go to the future to see some of this technology and miss out on some of the stuff right now. And even technology now, we don't realize how absolutely insane it is. We have this little thing in our pockets that can take pictures, call people, do video calls, watch the unlimited access of the internet, which is literally everything in the world, all at the touch of our fingers. Like that's insane. I think we just.
Imagine the VR. We actually have this VR. Can you imagine how cool it will be in the future?
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that would be
100%. Like
really.
I would love to do VR in the future. Like even now, like I thought VR is pretty freaking cool. I played it at my friend's house and I loved it. Like I wanted to get one for myself now. But like you said, like what was that movie called? Do you remember that movie where they have like the virtual reality world? Player One.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah, go on.
It's called Player One, I think. But I loved that movie. But like that's how I imagine virtual reality, and I think the year was like 2037 or something like that. I could see it happening by that point easily. Like probably before that point, to be completely honest. Have like little virtual reality everything. Heck yeah.
You can try so many new experiences with that. It's gonna be cool.
The camera's blurry. I don't know how long it's been blurry for.
I don't think for too
It's
long.
just not focusing. There we go.
Okay.
Um,
So that's my opinion about those things. I think unfreezing people is really cool, but on the other hand, it's just our insecurities. I think technologically it's amazing, scientifically it's awesome, but again, we should work on ourselves.
we
That's
just
why.
experience life for that measly blink of a blip on Earth, and then just be done. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Just be done
That's
with
the
it.
point. That's the
That's the
point.
point. I mean, everybody that's existed before us has died. They deserve to die. Absolutely, right?
Where your ancestors are in you right now. You have molecules of ocean in you. It's amazing how nature recycles. It's okay to have this recycling going on. It's okay.
Have
One
you
day, maybe you will be a gazelle or something, like half a
a
gazelle.
gazelle? Is
How
that
is it called?
gazelle?
Gazelle.
Yeah,
Okay, a zebra.
a
Okay, zebra. Zebra.
zebra. No, no, I just thought it was funny how you pronounced it. Gazelle.
I tried.
um. Oh crap! I had a thought. Now I lost it. What did you? What were we just talking about
Zebras.
before that? Before the gazelle.
Gazelles. We were talking about how you should live just for a blink of a second, and that's cool.
Ah, crap! I lost my thought. I had a really cool thought. Um. Oh, have you ever read the Selfish Gene?
I think I do have the book or something similar in my house. Okay, go on.
Okay, well, in the Selfish Gene, the premise is basically that uh, all of life is controlled entirely by our genes, our specific genetic material. In fact, that we are just a vehicle for those genes to pass on to the next person.
I
Um,
know what you mean.
so, like every aspect of our life is controlled by genes, and he goes into a lot of detail about how like everything, like literally everything, is controlled by genes, and the only thing that's not controlled by genes are possibly the things where we outsmart our genes. We become so smart that we outsmart our genetic vehicle going forward. And I think that we're maybe at the point where we have outsmarted our genetic material. It doesn't need, and like you said, like literally, our genes are going to be passed down to the next person. Our genetic material will be passed down, and that was the job of our genes the entire time. But maybe we can outsmart the genetic material, and if we could live forever, we have outsmarted it. We have beaten the selfish gene aspect of the genes. We can finally say that, hey, we don't need to pass this down if we don't want to. If we, um, I got a quick philosophical thought for you here. All right, you
Go
don't even have
on.
to comment on the selfish gene aspect, but if you could only freeze yourself and live forever if you don't have any kids, do you think that that's fair? Because then you wouldn't be a burden on society forever. Like if you just imagine it extrapolates. You have two kids, two kids, two kids. It turns into a lot of kids really fast, or three or four. Like it just explodes in population. But if you decided, hey, I want to live forever, but I won't have any kids for it, so I won't be an extra burden on society. Do you think that's fair?
One side of me actually wants to live forever, don't get me wrong. I really would love to do that. But on the other hand, I still believe we have to die. That's the only way to actually
So you
appreciate
don't think
what you
that's
have.
you don't think that's fair though?
I think it's fair, and some people should have the choice. And maybe in the future you can have choices, and you can pick what you want to do. And you maybe you have a lifespan. I don't know, for 1,000 years. You can pick to pass it on your children, like half of your lifespan or something, or you can keep it to yourself, maybe. Okay, but I think you should have the choice to just live your life and just die with dignity, and that's okay. But on one hand, I really want to live forever as well. I know, but on the other hand, I don't think we should.
All right, another random movie reference. Have you ever seen the movie
Go on.
In Time? It's
Yeah,
with Justin
Justin.
Timberlake.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I imagine in the future it could be something like that, where you're allotted a certain amount of time to live. Like you get to live, you don't age once you hit, 18. You're raised up those first 18 years. Then once you hit 18 or 21 or whatever, you have 60 years to live, something like that. But you can like earn more time. I think in the movie it was down to like 10 years or something like that. You have to earn time. But in real life, you could do something like you just die after 80 years. Like it's just your time's up. Uh, is that something that you would prefer? We're getting away from
I think
cryogenic freezing, but uh,
I know. It's okay. Let me answer. I think it would be really cool if you live for a long time and be healthy. For example, it's okay to live for 100 years, be totally healthy, and then pass on your life to someone else.
it would be
I don't
sad to
think,
know that you're going to die at a certain point, though. That's like one thing about life right now. It's
yeah.
unknown. You don't know when you're going to die. But then to know that this is the day that you die, that's freaking scary.
Mm.
Even if you did live for 100 years in happiness, like why do I have to give up my life now? And you gotta
It's
imagine,
okay. It's in nature. Everything dies. You have to die. Stars die. Everything, galaxies die, and it's okay. It's okay. It's totally fine. You are gonna be reborn in a wave in the ocean, maybe with your molecules. Maybe you will end up in a star. It's amazing. Can you imagine that? Your molecules being in a cat, in a star, in something so amazing? Where everything is one. Okay, so don't be selfish. Like your skin cells are not selfish. Like be like, I'm gonna live forever and don't care, except if it's cancer. Okay, so everything works as one. We should work as one with the nature. That's what I believe.
that's a fair thought. I disagree with it, but it's a very fair thought. Like you're right. It is cool that like when we die, like our molecules just go out into the universe into different things. Um, like that, I forget what it was, but somebody was saying that like if you drink, if you like touch the ocean, the chances are that you've or like drink a glass of water, uh, you have a very high probability that you're drinking dinosaur pee, molecules from dinosaur pee at some point, or like other stupid stuff, or like water that's been in Napoleon or something like that. Like just because the sheer amount of molecules, it just makes the chances high. It's really weird to think about that, but it's like it's kind of cool. Same time, it's not you. That's just what was in you. Um, your consciousness is you, and you will be gone. You will
Mm.
die. Uh, I remember another thing bringing up. I think it was oh crap. Adam ruins everything. It was actually very very mind numbing for me. But one of the episodes, I really like his show by the way. He ruins a lot of normalized things in life, and one of the things was death. And he said for like the first like minute of the show, you will die. Blah blah blah. You will die. There's nothing you can do about it. You'll die. And it's just like, oh, but you'll die. You will die. Death is going to happen for you. And it was just like, oh, thanks, Adam. You really ruined it for me. Like, now I'm upset and depressed. All right, I will die. I get it. Maybe I'm even lucky to exist in the first place. Out of all of the random things that could have happened, random people that could have been here instead of me, I am here. So that is quite intriguing.
Would you be okay if there was a massive monument of you? Okay, something like had your consciousness, a copy of your consciousness, living forever, and you would die. Would that be okay?
A
Like,
copy of my consciousness. I don't know if that would be me though. If you copied it, for example,
mm,
if you just duplicated me in its entirety down to the absolute down to the atom, I just made two of
what do
me.
you mean?
it'd be like twins. It wouldn't be me. You know, me, I only have one of me. Even if you made an exact copy with the exact same thoughts as me, it still wouldn't be me. It would be another consciousness, a duplicate, where we could talk to each other and, you know, he would think he's him and I would think I'm me. There wouldn't be one consciousness, there would be two. So, I don't know.
Some people are actually they want to live forever because they are fearing of missing out. But some other people, they actually want to um, leave their signature on the world. You know what I mean? They want to be someone in this world, and if they are someone in this world, they're okay to die because they know the memory of them will still exist, and that's okay with them. And I'm thinking they're totally different things, and it's still vain to have these feelings for me.
You don't think that, so you think it's not okay that people want to be remembered?
You know, eventually,
Like, you think it's vain to have a gravestone?
I kind of think so because you should have to appreciate the person well as long as it lives, not after he dies, like it doesn't care anymore. But on the other hand, like your life matters even if you're insignificant because my cat's life lying right here, it's totally fine if no one remembers it after, I don't know, 10 years after I die. And it's okay. It's okay if you're not remembered. I know I want to be remembered as Napoleon or something. It would be amazing, okay? Don't get me wrong, but it's still vain. It's our insecurities.
I kind of agree with you there. I'm actually not disagreeing with you. I was just picking your brain a little bit. Like I don't need a gravestone. When I die, they can do whatever the heck they want with my body, unless I freeze myself. Then that's a little
You know
different
what I
story.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. Unless I freeze myself. All right. But at the end of the universe, it's not gonna matter who you are if you got remembered or anything. Like when you die, it's infinite years blink by, infinite, just like that, gone. So at the end of the universe, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you remembered or cool or amazing or what you did. It's just all gone. Maybe this is depression time with Chris, or negative thoughts with Chris. But like after infinite time, because
So
it
depressing.
just happened like that. All of it didn't matter. Um, so I think it's why a lot of people have to question, like what is their life worth to them? Like is life miserable for you? Should you want to live it or shouldn't you? Should you just commit suicide or something like that? And I'm not saying that you should do that, but this is a question that's I think sort of important to think about. Like, is it worth it for you? Are you
Mm,
are you living a good enough life to be happy and everything?
I think I'm quite happy.
I'm quite happy. I mean, I have downtime, like you said. You have to experience all of it. You have to experience some of the bad times to feel the good times, and that's very true.
Mm-hmm,
Not nobody has everything always be good all the time.
mm-hmm.
All right, I got another sort of off-topic thing that I wanted to talk about really quick. All right, because I thought about just this the other day,
Go on.
and I haven't seen a Black Mirror episode about this yet, but now there might be. So right now the most addicting substance I think known to man is heroin. Um, like you do it once and you're freaking hooked already because it just makes your brain chemicals just like love it. Uh, what if we could insert a chip into our brain that gives us the same feeling as heroin, or the same feeling as eating the most delicious thing you've ever eaten in your entire life, and just like a neural network that just can make you feel those things with like a click of a button or a click of a mouse or something like that. Um, this is again not non-related, but do you think that that's a cool thing to do? Do you think that they should ever do that?
There is actually a whole book written about that. You know how Orwell was talking about 1820 something? I don't remember, but basically Orwell was saying that their future might be a dystopia and everyone will be sad and controlled by the government and everything like that. But there was, on the other hand, another writer. who said it's gonna be a dystopia. Everyone agreed it's gonna be a dystopia, okay?
Sure.
But he said it's gonna be just satisfaction dystopia, because you are gonna have instant satisfaction all the time and you won't care about what's going on in the world. So someone actually wrote about it. I saw it in the theater, actually, a play about that, and it was really sad because everyone was told constantly partying and everyone was being inserted by artificial happiness. And it's still a dystopia, isn't it? It's not something we want. I don't know, but on the other hand, you will be happy. Like, you will genuinely have the chemicals of being happy.
It's an interesting thought, right? I mean,
Oh,
like you said, like, are we already possibly partially living in that utopia? Some people say it all the time that we used to care about politics, at least in the United States, we used to care a lot about politics and assume that everybody was doing the right thing and everything. And that's why apathy is so high, is because people are just like, whatever, like, my life's okay. Like, I don't really care that much, like, I have a house,
mhm.
I have food to eat. Like, let them figure out whatever the heck they want. Like, I hear from my friends a lot that no matter who you vote for, your life won't change. And that is honestly, for the most part, partially true. Your life doesn't change that much based on who the president is. But it doesn't mean it doesn't affect it overall or in broad scopes. What you think is best for the country, you know, in the long term, or whether or not the economy is going to stay okay, or whether they're going to raise taxes or lower taxes, or give free health care, or whatever. Um, so I don't know. I just noticed that I always get lost in my thoughts, man. I lead to one thing and leads to another, and then I forget what I was first talking about, and then I'm just like, oh, okay, I don't know where to go now. Um, but I feel like we're partially in that dystopian future where, like, we have the internet, and the internet is instant gratification in all situations. You can watch porn or watch videos or play video games or play with your friends, hang out, like,
Instagram.
you can do whatever you
Mhm,
want all the time. And that's why it's kind of like addicting to have the internet. And I know everybody has it, everybody does it now. It's just a thing, and it's because
mhm.
it's cool. Um, I don't know if you have any thoughts you can add to that, but I think with the brain chip, it's going to be like that, but way worse. Now I don't know, like I know what would happen if I used a brain chip. It would be just like the mice experiments. They actually hooked a mouse up to like a dopamine machine, like on
Yeah.
their brain, and they like were like, click the button and you get a free thing. And instead of eating food or having sex or doing anything, this mouse would just click the dopamine button and just get dopamine. And that's exactly what life would turn into. You would just literally be sitting there pressing this button in pure bliss of feeling good. Uh, and I don't know. That's probably not it's not a good thing for the human race. But, like, hey, you could enjoy your 80 years or 70 years a lot by just clicking that button nonstop. Um,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And I don't know the correct answer. I don't know what I believe about that. On one hand, yes, your life would be like full of pleasure. But on the other hand, do you really want that? I don't know.
do you want the good with the bad?
I don't know.
Or just a quick other Rando thought. I thought about this as well. Instead of a chip that just gives you pleasure, what if there was a chip that just makes you feel pain? So for a criminal or something like that, they put a chip inside their brain that just makes them feel pain nonstop, never-ending pain, but they're not actually being damaged in any way. It's just fake pain in their brain. I mean, I don't.
It depends on the crime.
It depends on the crime. So if a man killed 23 puppies, he should get that chip.
If he tortured the puppies, he deserves to be tortured. I'm sorry, but that's what I
He
believe.
did. He tortured the
Because
puppies.
I believe,
Sorry,
but
he
I
did
believe
it.
in rehabilitation. But if through that pain he can actually rehabilitate himself and then be okay and like be like, I'm not gonna do it again, then maybe it's worth it. But if he does the same thing again and again, what's the point? He's still gonna do it. Maybe just, I don't know,
Okay,
make
this is just a
sure
random thought.
he's gonna be in prison, no touching puppies.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's get back on topic here. All right, we're done with killing puppies and stuff. Um, so cryogenically freezing people, you think is a bad thing. I think is a good thing. Well, I can't say you think it's a bad thing, but you would prefer that people not do it, not try and beat death.
Mhm.
Uh, Obviously, it's a sticky situation if somebody's, a 7-year-old kid with cancer and they have no cure for it. Like, should they be forced to die? Probably not, but like that's the natural life cycle. It sucks, but it is. I'm okay with cryogenically freezing people in all situations. I think there is nearly unlimited resources in the universe. The universe is gigantic and huge and humongous. As long as people are willing to, be scouts and explore the universe and explore different places, I think it'd be really, really cool if they freeze people. Do you have any sort of last thoughts on cryogenics?
Mm, we should study frogs.
We should study frogs.
Hmm.
I don't know if they've done any research. Have you looked at that at all? I haven't. I didn't see anything. I remember The only reason I know about that is I remember watching animal documentaries as a kid, and one of them was the like woodland frog that could freeze himself.
What they're doing, they're basically trying to use the cryoprotectant on the frogs, on other species, on other tissues, and they have no idea what causes the toxicity. They have no idea how it works, why some cells are more resistant and others are not. They're still trying to figure it out. But we need to study them.
One other thing is, frogs are cold blooded. Like,
Yeah, that's an
so
issue.
humans are warm blooded. Like when you freeze a warm
Mm.
blooded animal, like uh, I mean down at like the molecular level, like all of our enzymes, all the things they have a very, very small range of temperatures that we can work in. That's why you're like very close to 98.6 degrees um, Fahrenheit. You're supposed to be that temperature. If you get up 2, 3 degrees higher, 101, 103 degree fever, like 105, you can die. Like that's how ridiculous that temperature needs to be. Very accurate. So hypothermia happens in just a couple degrees lower, 5 degrees lower, or whatever.
Mm.
So uh, like
Still, we're
for a
actually
human to freeze
inserting.
themselves, oh my
Mm.
god, it messes everything up. Like how are you supposed to survive that? I don't know.
I understand that, but what we're doing today, we take sometimes some genes of animals and insert it into plants. So can you imagine the difference? It's massive. And I've read you're taking some scorpion genes and insert it into potatoes so they're more resistant to the weather. So
Scorpion
if
genes?
something about them, something,
Well, that's
I
cool.
don't remember what, but there's one thing. Um, and if you can insert the scorpion gene into a potato, then maybe it's okay that we're different blooded, like one's cold blooded and the other one's warm blooded. Maybe it's okay. Maybe we can find a middle solution. I don't know. We have to study them. Just saying.
Interesting thought.
Mhm.
It's just making me
Okay,
think more about it.
you're
All right,
into it
sorry, I
now.
moved you around. Um,
I think that's all for today.
yep, I think we're good. Obviously, here, why don't you do the outro? You got it, right?
Outro. Okay, okay. Um, Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation. And always keep in mind that we're not experts. We have no idea what we're talking about. We just like science and we try to comment on it and think about different points of view. And I hope we gave you a couple of thoughts about the future, about cryonics. And again, thank you for watching. And check out Chris' channel, Chris's. Chrissy's Chrissy's channel. And yeah, thank you for watching.
And don't forget to check out both of our channels if you guys are interested. Don't forget to subscribe. Again, this is just a fun little discussion for us, and hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do, press that like button for us. We'd really appreciate it. And I always leave with have a super duper delicious day.
Delicious.
Delicious.